In today's video, we're going to be talking about why you've been given the addictions you've been given and how overcoming them is the journey of life. So a lot of us, like me included, we all struggle with things in this life. I personally struggled with my main vice was not being able to stop or control my food intake. So the biggest thing I struggled with was not putting a cap on when it was time to finish eating, for example, or not having been full or not having enough. And I think that these vices that are put into our lives, that each different person struggles with something different, whether it be porn, whether it be alcohol, whether it be drugs, whether it be whatever your vice is, it has been given to you, or you have adapted or adopted it, in order for you to learn how to overcome it. Because when we overcome our vices, this brings us A, closer to self-mastery, and B, closer to the man or woman that you are meant to become. You are meant to become somebody who is patient, somebody who is kind, and somebody who is, most importantly, self-controlling, who has self-control and self-awareness. Those are one of the highest states a human can achieve. But in order for you to be or have self-control, you need to first learn how to live with no self-control. Our basic animal instincts are eat, fight or flight, rest and relax. And we live in a world now where all of our instincts are basically at the tips of our fingers. We're hungry, we just drive to the supermarket and get food. Someone's horny, they throw on porn and watch porn. Someone's, not feeling any stimulation, they drink alcohol and feel drunk. Whatever your vice is, it is easier now more than ever in any time period for you to get what you want, get the stimulation that you want to be stimulated in. But it's also much harder for you to become what God has planned for most men and women to become, which is the highest versions of themselves. But the most important thing that we could take away from this and that we can actually be excited about is that it gives us more potential to grow, more potential to actually realize how far we can come, how far a human can be developed. Because if you think about it, and really think about and reflect on this, when you come over any addiction, if you solve any problem that's been bothering you in life, for example, like I mentioned, for me it was food. I had no self-control over food. I wanted a snack, I'd eat it. I'd make sure I'd have chips and snacks and granola bars and candy stored for a week just in case I got bored for a second. And that led me to becoming fat, overweight, unhappy with my self-appearance, a low confidence, and this allowed me to go into a very low state in one that I was not happy of. But the benefit of this, like I mentioned, is when I came over this, and I'll explain to you how I came over this in a second, is you learn to become more self-controlled. You learn how to have self-control, and you learn how self-control can benefit your life. Because now that I've mastered this vice that was inhibiting my progress in my self-improvement and self-development journey, I've realized that once you solve one vice, once you solve one addiction, everything else in life becomes easier. Everything else becomes more attainable, and everything else in this life feels like it's at your fingertips. Because if you've ever struggled with addiction, if you've ever struggled with something you want to stop, but every day you go back to it, or every week you go back to it, or you try and then you fail, and then eventually you overcome it. If you've tried, failed for years or weeks or whatever your time period is, and then you finally overcome it, you finally see and you show yourself that you're free from this, only then and there you realize the power of your mind, the power of what you can accomplish as a human being. So, whatever your vice that you struggle with today is, reflect on it, write it down on a piece of paper, and tell yourself that this is the last time, because you, as a person, are going to move up so much in your developmental journey, and you are going to be that much closer to becoming the man that God actually has envisioned you to become once you give up whatever's holding you back. Because that's all that vices are. They're just prohibiting us from moving to the next level. They're stopping us from moving to the next level of our journey or chapter, etc. in life. And for me, it was difficult, man, because food, especially in this generation, it's so accessible. It's obviously not free like most things, or not most things, like porn, for example, which some people have a problem with, or like alcohol, which is usually more expensive than food, but it's still available. And it's available at such high dopaminic amounts, for example, sugar, that it's very difficult to control and get rid of. And that's why we have a diabetes epidemic. That's why we have people overweight. And that's why I also became a fitness coach. And that's why I became a health coach, because I know how difficult it is, and I know what people struggle with, because I've struggled with it in my past. And I know how good it feels to overcome something like this. And that's all that being overweight really is. It's just a lack of self-control. Because if you tell yourself, I need to eat this much calories to lose weight because I am not happy with the way that I look, then if you can't do that, it's just a matter of self-control. You lack self-control, that's it. And I personally didn't want to lack self-control once I became aware of what self-control was. And I told myself, okay, I need to have the most self-control I'm possible of achieving. So what does that look like? I need to show myself that I can control the amount of food that I could eat. I'm obviously not going to die because other people have done it before. And I'm obviously not going to get some sort of unhealthy benefits from it, because they provide health benefits. Actually being in a calorie deficit for periods of time is a very good metabolic reset. It provides a lot of health benefits. So I knew I had to do this. It's just I was lacking the self-discipline for the longest period of time. But now that I understood how to do it, I help people how to do it. So if you're interested in becoming a person that has self-discipline and is able to be proud of the man or woman that looks at himself or herself in the mirror and says, that's exactly what I wanted and vision of myself, then click the first link in the description and let me help you change your life. But to move forward, how did I come over my food addiction or non-self-control of eating? Because I had snacks stored everywhere. You know, I'd be hungry, bored, boom, snack. I'd be hungry, bored during the summer, boom, order pizza. It's so accessible, so how? Well, first, just like anything in life, I asked myself, why? If you want to do anything in your life, you have to have a big why. Why did I want to change? Why did I want to have some self-control in this domain? And then once I was able to answer that question, it just became a question of how long? How long is this going to take for me to master it? And once I've realized it's not a fixed amount, it's your entire life you're battling with this, then it brought me actually peace. Because I knew it's not going to be, okay, 2 weeks I'm going to struggle with this, and then it's going to be easy. It's not. It's going to get easier, but it's always going to be tempting to want to eat constantly. You're at the grocery store. You see Oreos. You want to buy the entire pack of Oreos and just keep them in your closet. Or your cabinet, sorry. Not your closet. Keep them in your cabinet and just, when you're bored, just have an Oreo. Then 1 leads to 2, and then 2 leads to 4, and then 4 leads to a whole pack. And then all of a sudden you've eaten 3,000 calories of Oreos, and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, thinking to yourself, dude, I'm just big boned. I'm not meant to lose weight. Hear how stupid that sounds? Yeah, that was me. So once you have the why and once you have the how, then it just becomes a question of, are you willing to stick with this? Because, yeah, just like anything, you're going to try, then fail, then try, then fail, then try, then fail. You're going to stick with it 1 week, and then you're going to go back to your old habit the next week after that. And then you're going to try again, and this time you might get 2 or 3 weeks. And then you're going to fall back again. But the longer you could stay with this, the longer you pick yourself, the longer you keep picking yourself back up, the more it's just going to become aware to you that this is all it is. It's just a cycle that you're going to go through. And you're going to go through longer phases and longer phases until you have made it a habit. And then once it's a habit, once you've gone, like it says in the Atomic Habits book, 60 to 90 days is what you need to build a habit. Or 30 to 60 days, whatever. Everybody's different. Between 30 to 90 days is going to take you to build a solid habit and routine. And once you've stuck with whatever you're going through for 30 to 90 days, for example, having some self-control over your eating, then once it's a habit, breaking the habit takes very long. And you've already rewired the way your brain thinks, rewired the way your brain works, that, let's say, for example, like yesterday, it was my girlfriend's birthday. We had some cake. It was sweet. It was delicious. Today, I'm not going to touch it because I knew yesterday, okay, I had some cake. Now I'm just going back to my normal routine. It's the routine that's the hard part that keeps bringing you back. Because you have cake one day, and then you wake up, you have cake the other day. And then you realize, okay, it's routine. I'm just routinely having this shit food. But if for 30 days you eliminate shit food, you realize after those 30 days when you have some shit food, you're like, this doesn't even excite me anymore. Because I'm excited for getting those longer periods of streaks. I'm excited to get, 4 months of just eating healthy and seeing how I feel. That's what excites me, at least nowadays. So once you have the why, then you have the how, then it's just a matter of, can I? And I promise you, anything you set your mind to, you can. It's just, are you willing to? So before you start, just ask yourself, remove time from the equation. Are you willing to stick with it? Are you willing to stick with the failures, stick with the setbacks, stick with the fallbacks, to eventually, not knowing how long it's going to take, see the results or the actions or the things you're looking forward to be revealed to you? And if they are, congratulations, you're going to conquer your vice. Conquering your vice is the best thing you could ever do for yourself, physically, mentally, and spiritually. It just develops you in all realms of reality. So if you found this video valuable, please subscribe. Really shows me that my content isn't just going to, empty dust. And if you've made it this far to the video, comment Oreo, so I know who made it this far. I love you guys. I'm gonna leave you like I always do. Create more than you consume. Serve others. Love everyone. Peace.